Ever since the Revolutionary War, the US and the UK have been rivals, and that also extends to book covers. I don't know how many times I've been doing Shelve It or Shove It, where someone has mentioned that the cover I'm looking at is different from the UK version that they've seen before. So what I've been wanting to do for a while is to take a look at the US versus UK, and it's a bit of work to compile which books have UK covers and which books don't, but a book blogger has done all the work for us, and I am talking about Ash's Infinite Library. She's not a booktuber, but she does have a book blog that is excellent. Please check it out. I'll have a link below. But she has been doing these cover battles for a while now, and so she's curated some US versus UK book covers. And I'm going to be going through my own assessment. I'm not going to be doing any ties. I'm just going to say which I like better, the US or the UK. Feel free to play along with me and go ahead and make a prediction of who you think's going to win. Okay, first up is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. The US version is illustrated, has a girl, looks like she's holding a big placard in front of her. It says The Hate You Give. And the UK version has a person's silhouette. It looks like a photorealistic cover. I like the US a lot more because the UK version looks very depressing. I'm going to say the US takes it by a mile because the UK version looks really depressing, whereas the US version looks almost a little bit funny and a little bit whimsical, or at least it has a sense of humor, which I'm not getting from the UK version at all. Next up, One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. Okay, the US version, I like the concept more. I like the cutout or the pictures of people with, looks like paper plastered over them. But it makes the title really hard to read. And One of Us is Lying in the UK version. It says, a geek, a jock, a criminal, a princess, a murder. Who would you believe? Oh my God, it sounds like The Breakfast Club. Except they're missing the weirdo. So, well, anyway, I'm gonna have to give it to the UK. It's much clearer what type of book this is, and in the US version, it's hard to even read the title with the font over all that. And I'm getting more out of the UK version. So, it's a tie, 1-1. Next up, The Devouring Gray by Christine Lynn Herman, a book I've read. And it's an okay book. I got a little bit tired of it. It's not my favorite young adult book, but it's an okay book. Of these covers, however, I don't understand what's going on in the UK version. Why is a Devouring Gray in that neon pink font? Because it almost looks like a diner. I'm trying to think if there was a diner in the novel that was prominent. I don't think so. And I guess this highway leading into the village, is that what's on the bottom? I have to say I'm liking the US version a lot more. I like the creepy trees and sort of the metal gray font seems to capture the tone of the novel more. I just don't understand what's going on with the UK version. So sorry UK, giving it to the US. Next up is Caravel by Stephanie Garver. And the covers look almost the same. So this is going to be hard. The US version, Caravel has a bit more script around the font. Looks like it has a darker cover. And it has sort of a blue star in the back, whereas the UK version looks flatter and has more of a gold tones rather than the blue and red tones of the US version. I'm going to say the US version. I think I like the US version more. Next up is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This is one of those books I've been wanting to read, but I haven't gotten around to it. The US version has a woman with this shadow behind her that looks like wings, and she's holding a dagger. It's very exciting, whereas the UK version just has a crow. And although there's a lot of stuff going on in the crow's body, I think I prefer the US version. Yeah, US version. Okay, I've picked 4 US covers and only 1 UK cover. Maybe it's just because I'm in the US and I'm more used to US covers. I don't know. Next up is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I don't like either of these covers, but of the two, the US version is much more colorful. But then again, the UK version has this sort of, it looks like handwritten script with the little heart over the give and a drawing of a sun. This is a tough one because I don't like either of them, but I think I'm going to give it to the UK. I kind of like that hand-drawn look to their cover. Okay, next up is The Wicked Deep by She Earnshaw. And both these covers look very similar. The US version does look more 3D. I don't know what it is about the UK version. They seem to like the flat looking illustrations. And the flat illustrations also give it more of a almost middle grade feel to it, especially with the illustrations. They look like something I would see in a middle grade novel, whereas the US version looks more adult. And I'm actually not sure of the genre now. I think I'm going to give it to the UK. I can read the font more, and I'm more drawn to that type of illustration and feeling. And you can read the author's name and the title much clearer than you can in the US version. So, UK. Okay, 3-4. 4 for the US, 3 for the UK so far. Next we have Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Roll. I have yet to read a Rainbow Roll. I hear so many mixed things about them. Let me know in the comments if you think I should read them. But anyway, Eleanor and Park. Okay, the US version is more minimalistic, but it's kind of cute because they have 2 people listening, I guess, to the same headset. And in the UK version, it's also cute and a bit minimalistic, not as minimalistic as the US version. So if I were to, I could go either way with this one. I think I'm going to go with the US version. There's something about that simplistic thing with just the 2 people in the center sharing the headphones that is drawing me in more than the UK version. So, US. Okay, that's 5 US and 3 UK. Okay, next, Circe by Madeline Miller. This is another one I haven't read, but I've heard a lot about, and I've been curious about it. But just looking at the cover, the US version is very Greek. It throws this Greek image right into your face. Not that the title would give it away, but there's also laurels in it with these gold tones. And I don't get the UK version. It looks like there's a lot of flowers around it. And maybe I need to read the book. Maybe there's some significance to these flowers, but I don't get it. So I'm going to have to say the US version for Circe. Next up, Call It What You Want by Bridget Kimmerer. I've seen that name before. It always throws me to pronounce it. Anyway, the covers are strangely similar but very different. They're all this stacks of hearts, only the US version has colorful hearts and the UK version looks like some type of origami. Maybe that's something significant in the book. I don't know. The US has like 2 different fonts mixed up. Call it what you want. It and you are different fonts, which is kind of different. The UK version makes it look, with that pink and the powder blue, makes it look very romance, sort of Valentine's heavy, which doesn't really appeal to me. I don't really care for either of these covers, but I'm going to have to give it to the US version. Only because the pink and blue UK version kind of pushes me away. Okay, so I've picked 7 US covers versus 3 UK covers. So let's just keep going. Next up we have They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. He's really hit or miss for me as an author, and I haven't read this book before, but just looking at the covers, the US version has 2 people in silhouette on a blue nightscape, and the UK version has this huge hourglass, like time is running out. They both die at the end, and I kind of like the UK version. I'll be honest with you, I like the UK version much more than the US version. Now we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Oh my gosh, I've been meaning to read this book too, but I haven't gotten around to it. This is weird because it looks like they used the same illustrators, except with different designs. So the US version has a tent on a hand, and the UK version has these Victorian figures cut out in front of a tent. So which do I like more? Which am I drawn to more? I have to say the UK version, I can read the title much better than the US version. I'm going to go with the UK. I'm going to go with the UK because I always like seeing those Victorian figurines, the silhouettes. That kind of draws me in more than just the hand. Okay, so we're up to 7 US versus 5 UK. Next up we have Eleanor Oliphant Is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Yeah, I don't like either of these covers, but of the two, I have a feeling this just isn't a genre I particularly like. I hope there's a fire prominent in this novel because the UK version has matches in the shape of a house. Although I would pick up neither of these books, of the two, I think I like the UK version more. Then we have Enchantée by Gita Trelease. Oh boy, these covers are totally different. The US version has a woman, but her face is obscured by, it looks like, a big tear with the name Enchantée over it. And the UK version has an old-fashioned looking illustration. It looks like a flying balloon, and there's a gate, and there's some figures in it, and there's flags of France. Ooh. You know, I think I'm going to give it to the UK version. I think I would probably skip the US version, but I may pick up the UK version and at least read the blurb. Oh my gosh, it's a tie. 7 US versus 7 UK. Okay, then we have Stephen King's The Institute, another one that I've read. This is odd. I'm going to say I like the US version, but I can appreciate the UK version. I just don't like it as much. I think the illustration's much better in the US version, and I think a train plays a much more significant part than a boat. I think there's a boat at the end, but it's not that big part of a story, so I'm kind of weirded out that they picked that for the cover, but it does almost give, with the 2 rowing motions, almost gives a skull-like feature in the water, which is kind of cool. And there's the Institute, which kind of looks like a mouth, but all in all, I think the US is much cleaner and much more attractive. Okay, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is weird because it looks like they use the same picture of the person, Daisy Jones, and one's in black and white, one's in color. And I think I like the UK version. The UK, I like the font more. And I like how 60s it looks, and it's giving me a very 60s vibe. And yeah, it's just personal preference. I prefer the UK cover. Oh my god, we're still at a tie, 8 versus 8. Next we have And I Darken by Kirsten White. Okay, the US version, first of all, it's hard to read. And I Darken, the I is over a spear, so you can barely even see it. Very hard to read. I'm not a big fan of the feature of the cover being the title. I kind of like to have a little illustration and something more. But in this case, I think the UK blows the US version because it's readable and it has an interesting looking figure on the cover. I don't think I'm crazy about the all black background that the figure's in front of, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit of scenery to maybe give me more of an idea of what the book's about. But UK version, definitely. Oh my gosh, the UK is now ahead of the US. UK 9, US 8. Okay, now we have Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Again, don't like either of these covers. The US version almost looks like little models, like models on a train track. And the UK version has these paper cutouts of a burning house. And I don't like either of them. I think I'm going to give it to the US version simply because it's easier to read. And I'm not, the UK version just looks too busy to me. So, US. Oh my god, we're tied again. We are tied again. Okay. Next up we have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. And you know I love Brandon Sanderson, but I haven't read his middle grade novels. I believe this is middle grade. Anyway, we have the US version, which has a young person, and it looks like is there a rocket something going over his head through the tree line? The UK version is similar, but a much different illustration. So here we're just talking about which artistic style do you like. I'm going to say the UK version. I like that sort of different type of illustration because the US version, you've seen this type of cover art over and over again, and the UK version is just a little bit quirkier, a little bit different. I'm going to go with the UK version. Okay, the UK is ahead, 10-9. Next we have The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, one of my favorite novels, the Daevabad trilogy, the first book that starts it off, and very similar covers. I think, this is tough. I think the title is easier to read in the UK version, but I like the colors more in the US version, those flames. This is a City of Brass after all. And I like that, mandala around it and the figure going into the city. So, this is a tough one because I like the font much more on the UK version. But I'm gonna have to say the US version. I just like that color scheme a lot better than the UK version. Oh my god, we're tied 10-10. And that's where we're ending. We are ending on a tie. Now, I said I wasn't going to tie when I see the two books, I was going to pick one or the other, but I wasn't expecting to get an actual tie. 10 books to 10 books. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you thought the UK or the US were better or if they're about tied. I'm kind of surprised I came up with a tied score when I was going on that we wouldn't have a tie. So now Ash has more lists of these UK versus US book battles. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see me do another one of these videos. And if you are looking for another video of mine, you can find one right here. Until we meet again, may all the books you read be blessed.